Good morning and welcome to the Zach Ratliff Show. And if it's not morning, good day or good evening. Anyway, I'm Zach, and let's jump in. First of all, I'd like to thank God for another day on this earth, for another day alive, for another day in the greatest country He's ever put on the face of this earth, creating more freedom and opportunity here and around the world than ever before. There are people that can do things all around the world because of what we've done here and through the blessings of God. And so we just have to work on maintaining that and growing that and fighting for that. It doesn't stay, our country doesn't stay great without a fight. That's what we see day in and day out. And that's why I'm here, just to be part of the fight right now. So there you go. I'd also like to thank the show sponsors. That's Mortgage Financial Services in Texarkana, Elmwood Custom Goods, and Church on the Rock, Texarkana. That's churchontherock.org. Without these organizations, I would not be able to do what I'm doing. And so I appreciate their support and for making this thing happen. So there you go. All right, let's start with Texas, everybody. Governor Greg Abbott announces the special session agenda, and and I'm reading this off of, and you can find this on gov.texas.gov. And so that's where we'll kind of go through this. Number one item in the special session agenda. Well, actually, they're not listed. This is just the order that I see it. It isn't like this one's most important or whatever. But due to recent circumstances, this one is pretty important. Flood system warnings, legislation to improve early warning systems and other preparedness infrastructure in flood-prone Texas and flood-prone areas throughout Texas. Hey, good. Let's do that. Flood emergency communications, good. Relief funding for the Hill Country floods, great. Natural disaster preparation recovery, good. Eliminate the STAR test. Legislation to eliminate the STAR test and replace it with effective tools to assess student progress and ensure school district accountability. Hey, I'm all for that. A lot of you that listen are teachers. I'm all for teachers being able to teach. Let's get back to educating our kids. We shouldn't be teaching to a test. Now, we do have to have some way to hold teachers and schools accountable onto what they know and to I guess what you could say, the making sure that the material is presented, but it doesn't all, and that's what's wild. You know, my daughter goes to a great school, but man, they put so much pressure on this test, and so much so that last year my daughter was like, "We've got this test, and what if I don't do good?" And I say, "Listen, this is really just to grade the teachers." She goes, "What if I fail?" I'm like, "Then you fail it." I'm like, "You hadn't failed anything ever, so I don't know why you would." I said, "This is just to grade the teachers, and that's why they're all worried about it." Now, whether that's 100% accurate or not, I'm just trying to take the pressure off my kid. I said, "Go in there and do your thing. It's not a big deal." And we all know that to be true. There are too many kids that are allowed to fail in life because they can't read when they graduate 12th grade, for what was then my third grader to be worried about how she was going to do on the STAR test. Now, admittedly, the school that she goes to has been the number 2 school in elementary school in Texas, and they push them pretty hard. That's to bring up the district's record for everywhere else. Her school has to carry so her school is above the state average, and while her district is below, they're carrying. You know what? Just get rid of the test. There are too many kids that can't read that graduate high school for me to ever think it's okay to put that much pressure on my kid. I'm sorry that your home life, that your parents decided not to teach you how to do that. This is not the responsibility of stressing out all these other kids. Now, yes, there should be a way to measure this. Yes, there should be a way to ensure that they're getting what they need and that teachers are doing their job. But just one big overarching test that everything teaches towards, that you shut down the school for a week and you have to be quiet and nobody can talk at lunch, that's just stupid. As we all know, when you get to life and everything gets stressful, all of a sudden everything doesn't just turn off. Oh, we don't just get some quiet time to think. No, you got to keep going. School's supposed to prepare you for life, not for a test. So I hope somebody up there hears all that. Protect children from THC. Legislation making it a crime to provide hemp-derived products to children under 21 years of age. Okay. Like I've said, I've been on middle of the road on this issue, but this makes sense. If you're gonna have it legalized, if you're gonna allow the things that are there, let's put some barriers on it like we have alcohol. Okay, I think I'm okay with this. I don't know. I think. Oh, and here's the next one: regulate hemp-derived products. Legislation to comprehensively regulate hemp-derived products, including limiting potency, restricting synthetically modified compounds, and establishing enforcement mechanisms, all without banning a lawful agriculture commodity. Sounds like we're getting real close to legalization. So here's the downside of legalization for me. The cartels are going to push something, whether it be fentanyl, whether it be people, guns, cocaine, whatever it may be. The drug cartel. So you make that less. You make weed less profitable for them. What's the next thing coming? I think we've seen that it's fentanyl. So that's really my worry in all of this. Now, if we're going to legalize it, and it seems that that's what we're on the way to doing, I'm good with, like we said earlier, you have to be 21. You have to there have to be some barriers. So I'm just interested to see how this all works out. I'm interested to see what the legislature does right here. You knew something was coming when Abbott vetoed the marijuana bill that Dan Patrick got his panties all in a twist about. So we'll see. All right, let's move on. So hemp-derived, protect the unborn children. Legislation further protecting unborn children and their mothers from the harm of abortion. And I'm for that. If I made a face, I'm sorry. I was just trying to think of what else is there. What else? What's the next step? And so I'm not invited to the meeting, so I just don't know. Y'all, I'm looking out this window of my beautifully supplied space, and my truck's parked right here. And then for the last few days, there's a guy that pulls up and parks beside it, and then he parks, okay? And then he gets out and looks mad at my truck, which I'm on the far line, but I'm on the line. I'm inside the line. Then he looks mad like I've parked too close to the line. Sir, you just parked your car that close to my truck. You park on that other line, or you don't even have to park there. Anyway, I digress. Let's see, unborn children. Yeah, I mean, I'm all for protecting the unborn children. I don't know what the next step is. We had the abortion conversation on here a few weeks ago. You can go back and listen to that, the Texas Sanctuary Cities for Life episode. So maybe it has something to do with that push. I'm just not sure. And so there we go. Okay, ban taxpayer-funded lobbying. Legislation prohibiting taxpayer-funded lobbying, including the use of tax dollars to hire lobbyists and payment of tax dollars. Yeah, I shouldn't be paying for a lobbyist. You shouldn't be paying for a lobbyist. We'll see how that works out. I mean, we're never going to be able to take that out of politics completely. Protect human trafficking victims. It says legislation similar to Senate Bill 1278 from the 89th Legislature, regular session, protects victims of human trafficking from criminal liability for nonviolent acts tied to their own victimization. Okay, I'm good with that. Police personal records, legislation that protects law enforcement officers from public disclosure or unsubstantiated complaints and personnel files. I'm sure there's a case that comes off of. I'm good with that. If this has to do with public disclosure where they're doxing these ICE officials or state officials, then that makes sense. Protect women's spaces, legislation protecting women's privacy in sex-segregated spaces, 100% behind that. a law legislation proposing a constitutional amendment allowing the attorney general to prosecute state election crimes. Yeah, that would make sense. Redistricting, the Democrats are going to get all worked up about this. Here's the deal: half the Republicans in the Texas legislature right now are left leaning, if not liberal. So not real sure that that's going to help any conservatives, but that's what you'll hear. That's the call that you'll hear coming, that, oh, this is just to help the Texas Republicans. I don't think it, I mean, hopefully it will, but I don't think it will. Title theft and deed fraud legislation similar to Senate Bill number 64648. It says provide strengthened protections against title theft and deed fraud. Okay. And then water project incentives. Golly, I hope this doesn't have anything to do with Marvin Nichols. I don't think it does, but it's just making it subdivision. It's making it cheaper to do water and infrastructure. So there we go. And finally, State Judicial Department legislation similar to Bill 2878 that relates to operation and administration of judicial department and of state government. And I don't know what that means. So there you go. I think the big ones are the protecting unborn children. The weed one's going to be a big one. And, here's what I missed. Cut property taxes. I knew there was a reason I was into this. Legislation reducing the property tax burden on Texans and legislation imposing spending limits on entities authorized to impose property taxes. Let's just get rid of them. If that's what you mean by cut property tax, but it's not. And here's the problem. We give so much money to the so much power to the appraisal district. Okay, we're going to cut your property taxes, and now we're going to skyrocket the value of these houses. A house that you could buy for $30,000. Now, look, I admit I graduated high school 21 years ago, but a house that you could buy for $30,000 21 years ago, it's now $180,000. Yeah, but your property taxes went down. No, my property taxes went up because you inflated the value of my home. Let's just do away with property taxes. I mean, how can you have something that's paid off and still get it taken away from you if you don't pay taxes on it? George Washington, the boys would roll over in their graves over all these taxes we pay. It's just a wild deal. Anyway, so they cut property taxes, but unless we get a handle on the tax districts, it doesn't matter. We need to rein in the power of the appraisal districts. And we have to stop paying taxes for everything you want. Oh, we need this and we need that. No, we don't. Golly. As Peter Griffin said, just grinds my gears. All right, let's jump in. Let's see what else we've got. This should surprise no one, but people are acting stunned, and maybe it's just because, I don't know, maybe it's just to have something newsworthy to talk about. This is from X.com, and pretty much anywhere else you look in the news, if you look, just open your eyes and blink. Biden's personal doctor went under oath, and all he did was declare the Fifth Amendment. Hey, under advice of my counsel, I choose not to testify. Did you know he was sick? I choose not to testify. Did he ever tell you to lie? I choose not to testify. What? I don't even know why we called this guy up. If you thought this was going any other way, that's your mistake. It has nothing to do with what this guy had to say. Anybody with any sense at all, and maybe that's few and far between these days, we knew this guy went, what's he going to do? Get up there and oh yeah, he told me all these things. And also, here's my address so these people can have me killed. No. He loves his family. he loves the people around him. He's not rolling on a political, on a political family. That's crazy. That's just crazy. Oh, here's something no one saw coming except for people that voted for Donald Trump. Oh, look at that guy. He just now got out of his car looking mad at my truck for him parking too close to it. I mean, it's hilarious, everybody. You shouldn't put me by a window, because I'm looking. Anyway, here's something that everybody that voted for Donald Trump knew would happen. The media told you it wasn't going to happen. Germany, the country, just agreed to buy more liquefied natural gas from the Gulf of America. And the United States is now officially Germany's largest supplier of LNG. Good. This is what was supposed to happen. Trump's right. We do keep winning. Let's don't get distracted by the Epstein stuff. Let's don't get distracted by all that stuff. That's a way to separate us. Let's take the wins that we continue to get. And that's what we need. Then I have some Alex Jones stuff over what he said about Epstein. And basically, he just thinks that there's a cover-up. And here's what I think. Well, and he even goes on to say this, too. If there is anything, which admittedly there has to be, right? Or that Maxwell lady wouldn't still be in jail and all that. Then what's to say that it's not being used for our benefit? Hey, you're going to find this way with us. And I'm not saying this is just thoughts. Like, hey, it's out here. We know it now. We're going to prosecute you. We need all this to go through. I'm not saying that that's right, but I'm just saying that's the way things are done. It's how it would be used against us. Why can't we do it too? Oh, we're above that. We're not for that. No. Let's get what we need to get done. Anyway, there's that. Did you all see, and if not, I'm about to tell you about it, this this from Politico.com. This congressman from Florida that came out and just hammered Ilhan Omar. So his name is, let's see. Let me get it to pull up. Oh no, that's what she said. Hold on. It's worth it, I promise. Congressman Randy Fine, okay? So Ilhan Omar comes out, which it's being argued now that she shouldn't even be here. She's illegal. We know that she's married to her brother in order to get him citizenship. Anyway, she comes out and says, this is Benjamin Netanyahu's third visit to D.C. this year. War criminals should not be welcomed by any president or Congress. But Ilhan Omar, she throws firebombs all the time. Not literally, but figuratively. She does encourage the literal throwing of it, seemingly, by supporting Hamas and whatnot. So then this Congressman Randy Fine comes out and he says, I'm sure it is difficult to see us welcome the killer of so many of your fellow Muslim terrorists. The only shame is that you serve in Congress. He said that. That's wild. And there's part of me like, hey, probably why he got elected. Because he's like, hey, I'm going to go up there. It's going to be no BS. I'm just going to say what needs to be said. And so he's catching all kinds of stuff. And he ain't backing down. Stand up for yourself, Randy Fine. I'm good with it. Do what you need to do, sir. Anyway, just thought that was wild. Good for somebody for speaking up. These radicals have just been allowed to be unbridled lunatics for the last however many years. And that's the problem. Who was it? Mike Tyson that said it? Nobody's afraid to get punched in the face. It's easy to be a keyboard warrior. Good for him. Just say, hey, shut up. Golly, it's just wild. Okay, did you see where Tom Tillis, now Senator Tom Tillis, this is from Politico.com, says he will not back any Trump nominees who express support for January 6th. Now that he's retiring, he's going to burn us down. That's the problem with these Republicans. That's the problem with voting for Republicans that are cowards. That's the problem with voting for Republicans that don't have a backbone, that are rhinos. At some point, they're going to turn. It's like the old story of the scorpion and the frog, right? Why'd you sting me? I'm a scorpion. It's my nature. It's the same thing every time. It's a tale as old as time. This is what happens. You vote for the scorpion. You give the scorpion a ride. He stings you. Golly. It's just irritating is putting it lightly. But it's something. Anyway. All right, everybody. I'm going to get out of here. I hope you all have a great Thursday. And we'll be back. We'll do it all again tomorrow. May God bless you, and, have a good day.